Hey, look at that. We're live. Yay. I didn't break it this time. Or any other time. Or every other time. All right. Yep. I see live on Facebook. So many things. So many things. It's episode 186 with somebody you don't recognize.
Is that Nick? I don't think that's Nick.
Oh, yeah. I don't think that's Nick. This is 186. I'm Cav, that's Sam.
Hello.
And special guest, Raid Sherpa extraordinaire, Grandmaster Master, person who's got me through more in-game content in Destiny than anybody else. It's our friend IndyBryce.
Hi, thank you. Glad to be here.
It's a big week for Destiny with Witch Queen and things like that. But first off, I wanted to talk to Bryce because how long has your Twitch journey been going on? We talked about this last night a little bit. 5 months?
Yeah, just over 5 months, I think.
Okay, so let's go back to the very very beginning here. Video games. What are your earliest memories? Favorite games?
I remember having a Nintendo so we had a garage that was like sealed, so like there was no cars going in and out of it. My mother did hair out of it, but we had a couch in there and had a Nintendo hooked up. So I remember playing Mario and Duck Hunter. My dad got us the actual guns for it, and so I remember that. I remember having Tecmo Super Bowl, and I remember having Mike Tyson's Punch Out. And some of those, like I believe we had an Atari for a little bit, but we weren't allowed to play with it at the time. Because I was the oldest of three, but my earliest would be that I remember actually playing those games a lot. And I remember that being in there. So I don't know how old I was, 4, 5, 6 years old, but yeah, we had that. And then I had almost every system from there, Sega, Super Nintendo, and then through all the cool stuff,
all the Xboxes and different versions and whatnot.
Yeah.
So video games have been a part of your life for a while, and then you've got, here recently. I say recently, last several years, people watch people play video games, which, like, for some of my older friends or some of my friends' parents don't understand the appeal of us watching video games. At what point did you decide, I'm going to start streaming this and see what happens?
It's a good question. So my wife is also one of those people that doesn't understand why folks watch others play video games. I started watching Twitch, I don't know, a year or two ago, not super regularly, when I first started a couple years ago, and then started getting really into it. And I really enjoyed watching how, at first, folks handled content, but mostly how they were talking to people doing it, because your brain focusing on hard content to also then explain it or talk about it. And like it now doing it, I'll get to that in a second on how difficult it is, but it was fascinating to me because communication has always been fascinating on how people communicate and the way that they do. So I enjoyed watching that, but also just strategies. And so there's other games that I really enjoy watching other people play just as much, if not more, than Destiny, because of how they lead and how they have to talk about it and also entertain chat. So then it was like 6 or 7 months ago. I think I've been an affiliate for 5 months now, but 6 or 7 months ago, a couple of our other clanmates, they streamed a run, and I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool. I mean, I'll set it up and I'll just record it." And so I did, and I was like, "Well, that's okay. I'm good. I could watch it back on what we did." And then it was like a week or two later, I decided to stream it with with me actually microphoned up for it, so I'm talking through it instead of just the gameplay. And I was like, you know what? Why don't we just buy and I still use the C920 Logitech web camera, and we'll just see how it goes. And so I tried it. It was weird for me to be able to do it, because you see all of the big people, and anytime the first time you do it, it just is a weird feeling. So I tried it out and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the part of, I really enjoy helping people in Destiny. I'm not good enough to help in PvP, but I enjoy helping in the PvE side of it. And so as I watched others on Twitch and they were explaining what they were doing and why they were doing it, I wanted to do that to also help others, if that makes sense. So like, this is how I'm explaining to Cav on what we're doing or what we're about to do. And others, even if they weren't going to necessarily play with me, they could see how I was explaining it. So then if they wanted to help their other friends, they could do it. Now I say that, I mean, the people that were watching me were like, 3-4 people at first, and they were all in our clan and they were probably playing with me for all I know. They probably had another tab open, but in my head, that's what I enjoyed and it's what I liked. And that's how it kind of started. And, the first couple of streams were rough on my end, the setup and both the quality of it, but it was a lot of fun.
We have an image of said setup here. There he is.
Yes. Yeah.
Nice.
I've got it. There's a baby monitor there. I've got the Series X. I've got it. That was the first time doing it.
Yep.
I think that was a very fun time. So if this ever gets really big, that would be a great compare and contrast, from the first time to the end, but it was really fun. And eventually my wife took pity on me to like, that's why don't we improve it? And so now I've improved and upgraded to a closet. So I've got a walk-in closet now instead of using a little nook inside of our family room, but a lot better quality going through a PC now instead of just the Series X.
Well, it's been interesting. Because obviously we've played together a ton at this point, and yeah, it's different in terms of like when for a lot of people, I feel like raids in particular are very intimidating content, just by the sheer nature of just the mechanics and things like that. It's more than just pointing a gun and shooting, as much as I would like for that to all it be. There's that. And so, we're lucky in that we have some incredible Sherpas in the group. One of them is right down there. Doodle's there. Doodle Thune, the Sherpa Queen.
Yes. Yes. Get it right.
So you get, what I really have kind of enjoyed is you take people through different things. Like Grandmasters are difficult content and stuff that personally, like, I probably would have never touched just because whatever. And then I got dragged kicking and screaming into one. And now we do them every season. And so, I think it's really cool that, there are some streamers who are, how am I going to put this, more polite than others. And so going in, and so, through the community that you've built over the last 5 months, which has seen significant growth. I think there's new people in your Discord like every day at this point. How has that experience been going from, like you said, 2 or 3 people, they may have been playing with you, whatever, to all of a sudden, these are people you've never met before, and you're going to take them through some of the hardest content in the game. I mean, certainly that takes, do you feel like a certain amount of like pressure, I guess, to make sure that like I'm streaming this or whatever, it should be this, or are you pretty relaxed about it? Or at some point does the switch flip and you're like, okay, this is getting a little more complicated. And I mean like class way. So. I
will try not to get too deep emotionally, mentally into it, at least at first. So Doodles and a couple of other folks that are in our clan that helped out a lot of people. When I first joined the group, it was great to participate in that. And then seeing how they explained it to make people that were very intimidated by the toughest content. And it's not necessarily that they don't think that they are good enough with their thumbs or their hands to do it. It's mostly they're intimidated by the communication aspect of it, because although Destiny, you hear people on Twitter or Reddit or social medias that it's got a toxic culture. Honestly, it's one of the best out of all the video games around for how big it is, where there's so many people willing to help and willing to talk through it. However, people are naturally intimidated to talk to people through the internet that they don't know. And so when you play with them and see how they did it, I was like, well, this is really fun. And then doing Grandmasters, which is probably until Master Vault of Glass came out, Grandmasters were the toughest content because you could 3-man a raid, but it's tougher to do 1 or 2-man of a Grandmaster. So doing those, in my head, I was like, this would be a great way if I'm going to really try to start streaming, is to offer up helping folks through Grandmasters. And my whole strategy with it is to make sure that I have every part of each Grandmaster down well myself. So as we're going through it live, I can try to ease any anxiety. So this is what we're doing in this encounter. This is what's about to happen. This is where you need to look at, and this is what you'll need to have, things like that, because it puts people at ease when they don't have to guess, when they're already somewhat intimidated by that content. So doing that, it was incredibly enjoyable. And so then it started getting more and more people that wanted to do it, which is great. But to your other question about, is it really tough when, or do I feel like this sense of responsibility? I do. And that's a personality trait way outside of video games, but like it takes its own emotional toll on me if we fail. Like if we do not clear something, like it is like I failed the whole group project for the entire class and all of us got an F for it and we're never going to be able to continue college. It's something like an emotional strong level at that. So I want us to clear it, not so much because a million people would want to watch it or like it. It's because I really want that person to, especially when it's the first time through it. If it's me with friends and we're doing crazy loadouts, that doesn't matter. But if it's a person I've never met them, first time ever, this is our first experience. And in that 30 minutes, I need to be able to show them that, yes, you can do this. You are able to do it. And after we've done it one time together, you can go in there with your friends and now you can do it. So anytime that we don't get it, it's tough on me because I want that experience for them so they can feel comfortable and confident in this tough content later, because anybody can do any part of the content as long as you're, up to power level or have weapons, of course, but, trying to ease that for them. So it's something that I have to deal with on a regular basis. If for some reason, just things aren't going my way, our way, however we want, like I have to be able to be okay with that. And some nights are better than others. I'm human and everybody else is. But you start, like, as I've done this more and I watch other streamers do it, it's really cool to see how they handle it, because I know that that's another way I can improve. You watch for micro expressions from folks on whether or not they are getting close to their tilting zone, on if something's struggling or whatever. And so how they deal with it, what do they do to handle it? And that's helped me to, I never rage. I don't cuss. My language is G, if not maybe PG at times, but like I keep my language there and I don't yell or scream, but it's easy.
You will sing occasionally.
I will sing occasionally. It's easy to get disappointed if you fail. And so how do you handle that? Because even people can hear the exasperated or okay, so even that right there is not toxic in itself, but just after a while, people can build up anxiety. It's even those micro expressions to learn how to not do that and just keep it inside your brain.
And sometimes the game just cheats. I mean,
it does cheat.
Like we've seen this. So fortuitous timing. So Jetpack, who's
Jetpack,
been a longtime fan of ours, Jetpack actually put together a group for me to take me through Leviathan like the day before it vaulted. And so this is pre-unicorns.
Okay.
For us. So it's good to see JPR over here. Yeah, we're talking Destiny too. So yeah, I mean that's the, it's definitely, because obviously I've spent an enormous amount of time watching streams and banning people and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, there's a certain, what I think really makes your stream unique compared to a lot of other people's, like there is a certain amount of level-headedness that I think a lot of people in that kind of content, like, they just don't have, and I'm one of them. Like, I'm super comfortable in Vault of Glass, but in Grandmasters and stuff, not so much. So, that's always been the thing. Like I said, the community that's kind of built around doing these runs. Like we did a run last night for a guy. How far under power was he?
He was,
15?
I think 1286. So for the
Okay.
final encounter, I don't know if he was contributing much damage at all. He
Other
was
than
over
that feather,
34
yeah.
power levels below, but we still got it.
Yeah. And so I would be willing to bet that most people probably don't take that challenge. Like, hey, I could grab somebody who's on level and it won't be nearly as difficult. But honestly, we had a great time last night. Like,
Yep.
it was a good time. I think we all agree with this statement here. Overload champions are the worst.
They are the worst. Absolutely the worst.
They are the worst. So, you spend a lot of time playing Destiny. How did you even come to Destiny? Were you a Halo Bungie, I'm just going to follow whatever they do? Or did you just happen to pick it up and you're like, now I don't play anything else?
Never played Halo. Still have not to this day played Halo. So if I get 0 friends because of that, I understand. But I was a PlayStation guy my entire life until the Taken King came out. So prior to that, had a PlayStation, and for whatever reason, I saw a trailer and some kind of gameplay of Destiny, and I was just like, that looks amazing to me. Because up until that point, I played really only sports games, and I was really competitive. Did some competitive stuff in Madden and other things of sports games, but played just single game RPGs. But something about Bungie, and so I got the beta. I played it, and I was like, this is me now. I really like what this is about, and I liked how it played. And so I played with it on PlayStation for the first year-ish. And my roommate in law school, he had Xbox and he played, and he had a whole bunch of friends, and none of my either in real life friends or PlayStation friends, none of them played Destiny. So I didn't really have anybody to play with. And then the Taken King came out, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to trade in the PlayStation and do this for the least amount of money possible and get an Xbox. And it was within the same time that Taken King came out, and found some random guy who happened to be the nicest Sherpa that I had met, that I knew of, the nicest person in Destiny 1 of all time. I don't think he even plays the game anymore, but he sat there with us for 4 hours, taking us through the Taken King. And it was one of my favorite video game experiences of my entire life. And I fell in love with the game 10 times more than I already had. And that's where it escalated, because up until that point, I had never done a raid. I didn't do much in-game content because I didn't have people to play with, and I just didn't know how to go about it. Destiny 2, they have just increased so many things to be able to play with other folks better than they did in Destiny 1. But Destiny 1 that first year, it was tough to find people to play with. And so I made that switch. It was a great decision, and we've all gone from there. But to answer your original question, no, I just happened to come across it. Something piqued my interest. I think I watched the initial commercial that Bungie put out for it. That
commercial was so good.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, all right, I was probably watching a football game when I even saw it, but I saw it, and then I checked out some gameplay. I signed up for the beta, got it, and it was done for me after that. I mean, since Destiny 1 came out, I think I played a few Assassin's Creeds and maybe a few sports games here and there, but it has been pretty much Destiny all the time for the past 7 years now.
It's so, for us, it was, I think all of us in our group, I think we all got the first Destiny like on launch, like we were there, but it had like that problem originally, which was once you got through the first part, like there was a big gap before Taken King. And so I put it down, didn't play it for a while. And then I remember very distinctly one of my friends messaging me, say like, no, you don't understand. Like, go get the Taken King expansion now, and you will never stop playing this game.
Yep.
He was right.
Yep. That's exactly right. It was perfect. I mean, at that time, it was just, it was perfect.
It really was. And so, like you said, the Destiny community is is so unique. In like, there's not another gaming community. Right? You know, there's obviously people talking about toxicity, and certainly there's been issues, but like just the sheer community and the things that they've done outside the game for charity and things like that. Nobody raises money like a Destiny community does. Like, and it's not even close. So, I mean, everything they've done, like, you know, with now GCX, you know, former Guardian Con, everything they've done for St. Jude's and things like that. Like, and part of that certainly is to Bungie's credit. They kind of foster this community. Sam's being attacked by a cat. So it's a flurkin. And so, yeah, like you said, it just kind of builds this community, and, you know, they just keep moving on and doing more with the game. And so as the game is going to come up, obviously we've got Witch Queen, you know, we have the final shape, which I'm convinced is like an octagon, you know, things like that. Like, do you have a Twitch end goal? Like, are you just like, is your, like, if you had this, I'll put you on the spot slightly here, like the community you've got today, which is amazing, grow that community to something absolutely gigantic, and you would not have time to really do the, I would guess, the more personal aspects of it that we can do today, you know, things like that? Or would you rather have a smaller community that you interact with more directly? What's your preference?
I would go with option C. I would want it, I mean, eventually to be a massive community like that. That to me would be awesome, because my preference every day of my life would be to interact with people and to help them in some way. And so if it became where I could do that 2 to 3 times more than what I currently can, because I, you know, only play after my boys are asleep, so 3 or 4 hours a night. But if that became 10 to 12 hours a day, then I'd still play with as many people as possible. And so I know a lot of the streamers that they built it up where they played with people and then it just became playing by themselves. It's not like I wouldn't want to do my own things, but I do that now, where 1 or 2 nights it's about what I want to do, and then a couple of other nights it is about helping others. And I think that is the good health balance for me, being able to enjoy the game and then being able to help, because sometimes it's tough. Like with Grandmasters, I really enjoy helping, but if it's a bad night, it's you get a little defeated because you want to help everyone all of the time. So the end goal would be to create a massive community. But as you're seeing with ours, getting a few more people in there where they are becoming very comfortable with doing it, where now it can be, we've ran one with Bryce, we've ran a couple, we know these other people because we ran with them as well. Now they can run it together. And so it's not me disconnecting from them or abandoning, but it's more of, it's fostering this overall that if you play with any person in there, you're going to get very patient communication, honest, transparent, but it is going to be a teaching and positive environment from the very beginning to the end, no matter how much you struggle or how well you do. Because we've had a couple of instances where it some people in there, whether we're teaching them or they are part of it, they've not been, and we've had to talk about it, because most of the people understand immediately when they play with me, this is how it's going to be. There's not going to be yelling, screaming, cussing, derogatory communications, anything like that. It's just going to be this, we're patient, we're going to help, we're going to do the best we can, and we're going to get through this. And fortunately, we've got some really skilled gamers, which makes it a lot easier.
For sure.
But we teach every skill level. There's no requirement. You know, we're not even requiring power levels sometimes, as you saw last night. I mean, that guy was way under leveled, but I was like, I mean, if you're fine dying a lot, we'll get through it. So it was great. But
you know, to that point, I think creating this kind of self-sustaining community where everybody's of the same mindset, and like you said, you don't tolerate like anything that's not going to be a comfortable environment for people. Like that's, you know, and having that ability, and, you know, getting to play with some of those people. Like I've played with some of those people like outside, you know, after streams like that. Look at that, hey, it's Cheese. Some of the absolute best Destiny screenshots and like stuff you will ever see comes from this dude down there. And so absolutely amazing. Some of his stuff made it in the Bungie pre-show. And so, yeah, pretty awesome stuff. I need to link that stuff. it's literally the background of all of my computers, like everyone that I own, my office, my home, all that stuff. They're all different. I still call them cheese screenshots. So amazing stuff there. Yeah, like so. Yeah, I played with some of the people outside the community, and really, because I really think, at least personally, like there's something pretty unique and pretty special about what you've got going over there. Just because everybody is just so super chill all the time, and they just have fun, and that's pretty amazing. I mean, I would say, your success thus far is, certainly well deserved. I think it's only going to get bigger. I need to cut some more highlight videos.
Well, I sure hope so. So if we can
Yeah.
somehow just quintuple the amount of incoming money, that would be great. And then my wife can thank you, and then we can just do this all the time. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But seriously, Cheese, if you could just do that for me, that'd be great too.
Yeah, that'd be fun. So let me, you can go and you can sub to him directly right now, twitch.tv. Tier 3 subs only, $20 a month. That is one Grandmaster run per season.
I think if somebody subbed like that right now, it'd be more than one Grandmaster run a season. But yeah.
I was bargaining last night with Midnight. I think I have around 20 to 25 flawless runs banked now. So if you need a couple, I'm happy to share.
Great.
Yeah, absolutely. So since Destiny's kind of been the focus, let's talk about the future of the game, because so much happened this week. We saw the Witch Queen for the first time. There were way too many bathwater memes. They announced Witch Queen, we got a trailer. We got the title of the last part of this saga, which is going to be Final Shape. So we've got Witch Queen, Lightfall, Final Shape. We've got, what is that, 6 years of Destiny content coming? 4 years, 3 years, who knows? But we saw a lot with Witch Queen in what's going to happen, the trailer. And so let's just kind of go through kind of the highlights. Personal highlight for me is the Hive Ghost. So freaking cool. Is somebody who actually had Destiny Ghost on a couple of tables at his wedding reception. This is big for me, having another physical thing to do. But it leads to the fact that you're going to see light-enabled enemies for the first time. What are your thoughts? Do you think we're going to get the opportunity to maybe play as one at some point? Hopefully, maybe.
I think we talked about right before we started. I think all of these hundreds of Bungie hires they're doing, I think there's about ready to be some radical changes to how we've played the game. Not so sure we're going to get to play with them, but I think that there's going to be some just massive shifts instead of the good guy versus bad guy. And it's very easy with it. I'm hoping, because I think that late 90s, early 2000s did them really great, where they were just movies that it led up to a point, and then there was something where you were just completely blown away with, you had no idea that's the shift that was going to happen. Part of me is hoping that something like that happens this next year or two, where, for example, the Witch Queen aesthetic looks exactly like Taken King in the way that it came out. Very dark. And it's got these dark grays and blacks and greens. And it just reminds me a lot of that. But I'm hoping now it becomes are you sure you really want to be on the light because of X, Y, and Z? And it continues this narrative of, it's not good and bad with light and dark. It's light and dark powers, but there are good people with both of them and bad people with each of them. And I'm hoping it's something along those lines, where they kind of play off that a little bit more on, we've had instances of ramifications of our actions and decisions, and that's a lot more of less this type of video game and others where early decision making affects the end game of your world that you've created. Think like Witcher 3, where early decisions can really impact later. I'm hoping that something like that is happening to this, and I think Luke Smith's ultimate dream has been to make an amazing shooter and then make it maybe not so much World of Warcraft style, but like that massive, where it is just a huge MMO and you have so many things to do. And I don't know if that's the end goal now with having crossplay and him building up to this, where it's going to end up being maybe Star Wars-esque. Maybe that's a better example than World of Warcraft, something along those lines for it. But
Yeah.
I think there's going to be like storyline and narrative of what we're doing and why we're doing and how we're doing it. I think it's not going to be so clearly just two options, good and bad. I think there's going to be I think that's going to make it a lot more of a wheel maybe, and just you could be all over the place. It's going to be a scatter plot, and I like the idea of that. I think it's really cool because although we all have our characters and how they look like, we're not as attached to them as we are to some other RPGs. We're like actually attached to our person. We're attached to the NPCs in this game a little bit more. And Cade dying was a crazy thing that happened in this game. And it's out of all 7 years, it's still one of the craziest just because
I'm so mad.
Sam is so mad he hasn't played since.
He has the best voice actor in the game, so you want him. You know, maybe not the best, but like you just love what he brought to it. So, yeah, that's kind of what I'm hoping or expecting. But we've also had a lot of great surprises last season. I thought that the storyline was awesome, and I'm sure we're going to get it here too as we're going into the Witch Queen, because they're putting a lot of eggs in the Witch Queen basket, and based upon what we've seen, it looks like it's going to pay off because they put all their eggs in the basket for Taken King, and it did. And I'm hoping they're doing the same thing now for the Witch Queen, but it's also a little bit wishful thinking.
I think, I think they're certainly leaning the direction you were talking about, which is, even in that trailer, you hear Savathun say, truth is a funny thing. And you really, like you said, you don't really know. And, we got a taste of like there was that Gambit or the Drifter side quest. Like, which side are you on? Are you with him? Or are you with, the Vanguard? And he called you names if you were the Vanguard, but that was, for the most part, the extent of it. Like, the ability to, like you said, tell different narratives based on decisions you're making, is certainly something that they can do. But what you're talking about is, like you said, expanding this world in such a way where people who don't want to play PvP, for example, like, can still get an enormous amount of stuff out of the game. I'm totally one of those guys. But there's this universe, liking it to Star Wars at this point, really, I don't think is really that far off in terms of scale and scope. How we haven't seen, or at what point a movie, they've talked about a movie and or a TV show a couple of times. Like, they really could. And telling the story on that scale, they introduced the Destiny timeline, for content and stuff, with this with this season, basically to kind of sort of telling the story. So I feel like their goals are very similar to what you said. Giant environment. I think we're gonna get to decision-based pathing essentially at some point for that. And like you said, are you light or are you dark, or are you, who do you play for at this point?
Yep.
And there's been there's been complaints about some story points and things like that, but to me it really seems like they clearly have an idea and they have a path. I want to see the whiteboard that this is mapped out on. Like, that's what I want to see. Like, because clearly, like, Witch Queen's coming out, which means they were probably well into final shape in terms of Lightfall. That story's probably already mapped out, and stuff like that. So they're probably into the last one. But speaking of fellow clanmates, there's Rock. So yeah, I hope we get, I hope it is the game changer that Taken King was. I really do. And I think it can be. When they stopped talking about, like, look, stop talking about Destiny 3. We're just playing Destiny. This is just the world we're in. And you have to wonder at some point if they were sort of slow playing things a bit because they knew new consoles were coming. Like, don't necessarily develop for the old stuff. Now the new consoles are here. They've been here. like you said, they enabled crossplay, which to Bungie's credit has worked, at least for me, amazingly. Like amazingly, other than the Vault of Glass first door.
Yeah.
The glass door in the Vault of Glass that you just run into.
Yeah.
Like, so, you get what we've seen in the Witch Queen. You've got some light enabled Hive classes. So all of a sudden now Hive can resurrect. They clearly have light based powers. Who knows what that's going to look like? They showed off a new weapon, which is half sword, half scout rifle. I mean, I guess the glaive, if you want to put it that way. It is so when they introduced bows, it was like a game. Like I was like the bows in the game are a lot of fun. And so I feel really good about the future of the game. Like, even though this season is going to be rough because it's going to be 6 months, I feel really good about the game and the future of the game. I think that, they're making big changes. You talked about, some people don't want to play PvP, but now they're making huge changes to trials, for the first time ever. And so is that going to drag you into trials a little bit more, potentially, possibly?
Yeah, because prior to me streaming, I'm not very good at PvP compared to a lot of our other brethren and sisters that are, but I really enjoyed it. I think it's kind of like golf, where even if you're not good at it, but you really enjoy it, you'll still play at it. You'll get frustrated because you're like, I mean, I still shot a 100 out of, instead of a 72, but I had fun through that entire terrible 4.5, 5 hours of playing. That is how I always looked at PvP, is like, I can definitely improve, and there can be one great shot, one great hit right there, and it'll keep you coming back. And so like, I enjoyed it a lot and played a lot of it prior to Beyond Light. But then Beyond Light came out, I started streaming, and there's just, I mean, my thing is not going to be carrying people to the Lighthouse. It's not going to be carrying people to Legend. It's going to be helping people in raids, grandmasters, and those types of things, which is fine. But that's where maybe one night a week, sometimes when I don't stream or play with other folks, that's when I will play it. But I think that trials, the way that it is, it will enable a lot healthier player base. So when I do play it, it's not going against only people with 1.8 KDs above, and that makes it tough, because although we have some really good friends that are really good at the game, they can only do so much. They can't carry you against 3 of those people most of the time. So I think that the changes overall are great. I understand there's a lot of strong feelings about what looks like skill-based matchmaking. I get it on all sides of the fence for it, because like I personally want it. Like, selfishly, I want people to only be going against me that are my level. For the folks that do all the helping, I understand why that can be incredibly infuriating. Like, the actual people that are pure at it, that are like, look, I'm going to get it. I'm going to go flawless twice with my friends, and then I'm going to start helping as many people as possible. That is going to make it just so much more difficult when you're going against stacked teams all the time. And so that argument right there, I mean, Grenader Jake does it. I mean, he helps so many people, or at least attempts to, when there's not cheating going on or something. But you have examples of that. If this is how it appears, then it's gonna be difficult. I will also add the caveat, though, that I think not necessarily going to assume their matchmaking is going to be, well, if you have been flawless already 4 times this weekend and you have a 1.9, you're only going to go against people 1.9 above. I think it's going to be more so where, like, there's going to be like this 30% threshold, like positive, like you have people in your pool that are like, 10, 20% below you, 10, 20% above you. That's going to be your matchmaking pool, not just people at or above when you're the top 1% gamers. I just think if you're a top 1%, you're going to go against people in the 70% and above range. Like, that's just where you're going to be at, which I get it can be struggling, but you're going to have some teams where you're going to have one really good player and 1 or 2 that aren't very good with those teams that are helping. And so they have those opportunities. But I mean, DMG himself, he plays with people that are really, really good, and he's in trials enough where he sees some of the frustrations at times. And that's where having a community manager, although he gets some backlash for maybe how he phrases things every once in a while, but he plays every piece of content. He knows why people are frustrated, and that is also very helpful. It's not like he only does a couple of things and then just hears Reddit or tweets at him. He actually plays it and experiences it and then can pass it on. So if the matchmaking is just horrendous for the people he plays with, it's not going to last forever. And so they will try to get it right. But the matchmaking currently with PvP is not perfect. So we'll see. But they want more people to play in it because they need that player base to not be so low right now. And I think what they're doing, there's going to be, people that if it's only 10% of the Destiny population play PvP and even less than that play trial, it's going to be over 50% will do it just because it's way more accessible, which is healthy for the entire game. So I do think that those changes are going to net generally the effects that they want.
Yeah, the matchmaking piece of it. Just the fact that trials will have matchmaking is going to be huge. Because you don't have to, like I said, get 3 friends together. You don't have to LFG it.
Yep.
You can just go in there and maybe you want to grind for a bounty or something like that. Like you can just do it. That's how it's going to be. So yeah, I agree. I think they're going to see a huge increase because some of the trials gear is really dope. It's really cool. One other thing that
they know.
Oh yeah, they know. One of the other things they announced is that the Void subclass is going to get some aspects similar to Stasis. They said while Stasis is slow, freeze, and shatter, they call them verbs. For Void is going to be suppression, weaken, and volatile. So, and you will be able to mix and match said aspects. So I think, a lot of people were hoping for a new subclass with Witch Queen, or something bigger than this. But I think moving to aspects for the light subclasses I think it's the right move because aspects, like, there's so much more flexibility in those builds.
Completely agree. I personally love what it sounds like they're intending to do with the Titans because I did play World of Warcraft for a year and I loved being a tank in that one and allowing other folks to shine with that. And so it sounds like what they're wanting to kind of do with the Void Shield on a Titan is to be more of a frontline defender. And so not without us knowing how it's going to play out, I think it's awesome. And I know most people expected us to have a poison subclass or some kind of fifth thing. And I'm sure that there was something in the works, but them remaking some of these, I think it's going to make it for a healthier game because Stasis changed everything. And everyone saw it coming that the severe impact it had on PvP. But for PvE, it has absolutely changed the game on what things you can do now and how you can have things different. But the aspects alone to increase your stats, it's even with some of the nerfs to Stasis, the aspects alone just make it better where you can get 2 or 3 things up to 100 total. You could have 100 recovery, 100 mobility, and 100 strength possibly if you wanted to. You just can't do that on light subclasses. So them redoing Void, I think, is the right call instead of them adding a 5th one just for the overall health. And because they've given us this multi-year plan, I think people can feel not as, not negative towards it because they're going to be redoing these things and it's going to take them 1 year to redo all of the 3 light-based subclasses. So then when we get after Witch Queen, maybe we harness powers that we defeated her with, and that's what gives us one more darkness power in the next one. I don't know, but I think it's going to be great. I think it'll be awesome for it, but we'll see. The subclasses that they do, it does sound like they're going to be great changes.
Yep. Now every time that Destiny releases a big expansion or something like that, there's always what I like to call unintended consequences. Usually it's around Telesto. Telesto has broken this game more times than any weapon in the history of video games, period. This particular season, a couple of uh, one of my favorite like exotic names, the Radiant Dance Machines. Like, I just want a job naming exotics. Is that a job? Like that's all that I want. There's been some things that have been a little overpowered, namely the Radiant Dance Machines and then the Worm God Caress. And so they've been disabled, unfortunately, because it was what, 24 hours after the new season released, we started seeing people basically one shot Ribbon with a hammer. Same thing with Atheon.
Yep.
Like it was bad out there. Like, and so, so many people get, frustrated and this, that, or whatever. But I mean, if you take the scale of this game and the pure amount of weapons that they've got, and weapons and armor and perks and things like that, the sheer number of combinations is impossible to like address every particular one. And so I think they kind of lean on the community, be like, all right, community is going to tell us in 24 hours it's broken, like where we need to focus it. So, I mean, in situations like that, if you had builds and things like that around that, because I know you were working on a worm god build, is it super frustrating for you for like, man, like I have this build, it's great, and you weren't even doing the one that was really broken?
Yeah.
Is it super frustrating for you for them to be like, all right, well, this is going to go for a little bit until we can get this sorted out?
It was just because if I want to grow, it's tough to grow by just turning on Twitch. Like people don't naturally grow from there. So you need to have content in other places to bring it to you. So that's why I do the, go out to Reddit or go to other places to try to Sherpa folks. Or you have to create content on YouTube. The quickest way, some of the people that have seen the quickest growth is through TikTok, because it's 10, 15-second videos. And so some of these builds, like this one that I was literally about ready to press send on it last night after we got done with the raid, is what I was going to do. And we found out, right before the raid that it got disabled, but I just needed to clean up a couple of the clips. It's disappointing from that standpoint, but like, I totally get it. I mean, the Radiant Dance Machines, watching just the sheer toxicity that was inside of PvP, where people were just freezing each other around and having their supers instantly, or using a Celestial Nighthawk and then having it 4 seconds later. I totally get it. My Worm God Caress build wasn't even using the hammer. It was something else. And it wasn't even really intending to exploit Worm God. It was to try to help people understand elemental wells, because out of all of the builds that Bungie's created, that's been the most difficult for people to comprehend on what do I need to do and how do they play with each other. And so then I have all of this. I'm going to use Worm God because it was about it using an elemental well melee build, and they disable it. So all of that's gone. Yeah. And whether it got 10 likes, 100, or 1 million, I will never know. But it's somewhat disappointing. But I totally understand, and it's on me for not having gotten out 12 hours before and become famous right before it got busted.
Assuming that Worm Gods will come back at some point, and because you weren't doing any exploits, like at least that content's still there, like and the build is still there, assuming they don't change Worm Gods in such a way that it impacts what you've got going there. But I'm always fascinated, especially by some of the YouTube guys and stuff like that, like how on earth did you even think of this? Like, run this, shoot it with 2 rounds of this, jump 3 times, do a circle, emote, launch, shoot an anarchy, emote again, throw a hammer, and guess what? You're gonna do 9 billion damage. Like, to me, it's just it's absolutely mind blowing, and some of that really is just understanding how stuff stacks together, and that's probably something that, at least personally, I'm understanding more with last season and stuff like that than I ever have before, basically because you took me through a Warmind cell build. And so at that point, I'm like, okay, I need to pay more attention to these things. Like,
yeah, there's so many things there, and a lot of the player base, they play a lot of the game, but some of them just haven't taken the time, because some of it's not explained as clearly as what other games may do or things. And so when you've got someone that can just, hey, put this on there, B, explain what it's doing, that will naturally get your brain to be like, all right, if I did these things, cool. Well, I go into this one, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to have as many explosions. So why don't I do more of a suppression build with it? But at least I've got a base foundation. So that's where some of these things that other folks do and they create, that is what they're honestly, that's what they've already done for themselves. Like, all right, I've got this kind of base of what I want to build. I'm going to add a couple of unique things to it. It's a 1-2 punch. Worm God Caress has broken something every couple of seasons. Telesto's always broken something every season, but those have always broken something. And so it's always funny to me that the same thing keeps happening over and over again. And so eventually they're just need to change Worm God Caress somehow, some way. But the builds, like, that's how we get through the end game content, or that's how we have a lot of fun because some of the in-game content eventually becomes where it's very stale because you can do it mechanically without even thinking. And that's where it's great to help people because you get that rush of doing it. But when you do some of these crazy fun loadouts and you see that you can one punch something for hundreds of thousands of damage, or when they come up with something else that's broken and you can do 1 million damage, like, that's a lot of fun. But it's, when you've played enough and you're actually learning some of these mods that they've got, you kind of see what maybe the way that it was described on there doesn't make sense to how it actually plays out. And so then you take a shot at trying to explain it to others. That's what's helped, and trying to explain what these are intended to do, even if it doesn't, as you're reading it on there, it may not look like that's what it's saying, but this is what it's saying. That's what helps so many people out, and they didn't even know. You didn't know about the Warmind cells, that Xenophage will create them with it because of the explosive damage that it does. And then once you can start doing that, it just cascades into more over there, and you're just clearing out full rooms. I mean, you can 3-man Deep Stone Crypt that raid one side of the room just by a couple Warmind cells. That's how we did it. Like, there were times where there was 0 enemies, and it's just me over there shooting things. And it's not that I'm some cracked player that is able just to kill everything. It's just because Warmind cells could clear the whole room, and it's great. But
Cheese is asking for a Lucky Pants build. So.
Lucky Pants is so strong right now too. It is crazy. The other build that I have the video for it, I just need to edit it down, is an Elemental Well arc melee build, but for a hunter. And it's not as strong as the Worm God, but it's still pretty strong. I was still able to one punch literally everything that was a regular yellow bar and below, and then on a I think one champion, I think it took me 2 punches to be able to do it. So it's still, you kind of play around with it and have fun. But
I learned last night that you can pop 2 of those like smoke looking things. There's the light modes and the dark modes. Then you can pop 2 of those with 1 hit if you're in the right place. Like Midnight was doing last time. I'm like, what is this dark magic? Like,
literally,
I only got it to work 1 time. I only did it 1 time. He did it like 20 times.
Yep.
So I know that we're a little limited on time for you. So final thoughts, comments, fun Twitch experiences you want to talk about, anything like that. His Twitch channel's in the bottom, by the
way. It's been a lot of fun. It's been very unique to do it. I wish I would have started earlier into the pandemic because of us having, 2 children, but one of them being really sick before the pandemic happened. He was already quarantined. We just didn't see very many people. So the Twitch gave a different level of interaction for someone that enjoys the in-person human interactions a lot. It has been great. And so doing that, the best stories have been some people being like, I never thought I'd ever clear Grandmaster, and we did it in 25 minutes, and so hearing those things has nothing to do with skill. It's just giving somebody a surrounding that is positive and easy to go through. It allows them to see the game in a different light. That's what I had with Taken King, and that one guy that just was able to slowly break it down. And from there, I ended up doing the raid so many times and doing it. And so that's been the best part about Twitch. It's also tough at times because you feel like at times if I'm playing the game, I should be helping people, and that's not the greatest mental mindset to be at. But you know, I don't really know what I expected 4 or 5 months ago, but it's going great from the standpoint where there's a lot of people that know that if they need help on a raid or a grandmaster or some type of PvE content, that there's a lot of people that are willing to be kind and help them and teach them and explain it probably more than one time. So they have mastered it. And that's great because it ends up, you know, or you help 3 people and then those 3 people help 3 more people and it just keeps paying it forward. And that's been really cool. And one of the greatest experiences was we had a guy that he was bound and determined to complete certain activities with his group that he had that don't play very much. And you know, to his word, they weren't as skilled, but he was like, we're going to do it together. And then he came back, you know, after we had showed him, we played with him one time, came back and they ended up doing 3 different grandmasters together. They did 2 different Master Vault of Glass challenges together and other things. So those types of things are great because you get to hear the success stories and it's not all about me or a couple of us that do all these helping. It wasn't just us. So those are great moments you want. You know, I mean, I want to be able to help as many people. You want that, but there's only so much time. There's only so much availability for 3 hours, 4 hours a night that I do it. So being able to give people the confidence or help them, that's what's been really cool. But that's what I think a lot of what Twitch was intended to do is either A, see things that you've never seen it before, B, understand things about the game that you never understood before, or C, have that type of environment where you're like, okay, I do like how this person explains it. And it would be really cool that I get to play with them and learn it in real time or see how they explain it to others. And so I can do that. And I think that's when Twitch is at its greatest, or any type of streaming service is when you can learn from them, not just how to do X activity with your thumbs or with your hands, but you actually get to see how they explain it, how their brain is processing that and also engaging with the viewers in the chat and also simultaneously explaining it to the people they're playing with. Like it does take a lot. And so when you hear all these folks that are like, look, if you're going to start streaming, start with a brief schedule because you're going to need to learn a lot and it's going to be very overwhelming. And you're not going to be like those people that have 5,000-10,000 people watching at a time, because you got to train your brain to be able to both not fail on screen of what you're playing, but be able to also explain it to everybody else. And then 3, be able to engage with your chat constantly and be able to keep your eyes looking at it. Like there's so many things going on. And, you know, we've been able to build up a great community with it, but sometimes there's so many things going on where I'm just hoping that I'm not playing at that time with all of the mods that I've got so they can actually see what's going on and help. But it's great. It's been a lot of fun. I've really, really enjoyed it. I don't know how far we're going to go with it, but we're going to continue to try to grow. And, you know, even with our new baby boy coming here in the next few weeks, I'm just going to try to create content offline to be able to draw people to the channel that way. But it's not, anytime that I play this video game in the evening, most of the time going to be helping people because that's what I enjoy the most. And it's been great, but getting to then talk to people like you guys about the game, it's been a lot of fun.
The Reverend is made his presence known here. Says my top 3 man crushes on screen at once.
Sorry, I'm not Nick.
Oh yes. So yeah, we certainly appreciate your time. Like, you know, if you ask anybody who I play the game with, including especially like Rev or Rock or whatever, you could have bet them $1 million that I would never have cleared a raid 25 times, and they would have taken that bet. And so I'm 0 for 25 for Vex, but I've cleared Vok 25
But
times.
you have your 10 Sherpas now, right? You get your emblem that apparently is the most sought after emblem in the game.
Yes,
because so many people apparently want it, but it's great. And now you're doing it where you get to explain encounters and you get to teach other people. So it's gone from you being intimidated to now feeling comfortable to both do it, and now even more comfortable. We're like, I'm going to explain this encounter and do it great. And then it's even better for you because now you understand it's a lot to explain something for 5 minutes to make sure that you covered every piece of it. And the more you do it, the more comfortable you is with it. But when you're hearing somebody explain it, your brain, and you've already done it, your brain kind of shuts off a little bit and you don't hear them. But then when you try to do it, it takes out of you. And so you start to really respect those people. And so all these content creators that have to come up with, man, my respect level for everybody that does their own stuff, that creates their own YouTube videos, cuts their own content and streams constantly. I mean, I respected them at one level because I knew it was more than what people let on before, but now trying to do it myself and having a family, I mean, it takes a lot. And you just have so much respect for those people that they're doing the same thing over and over again, answering the same question to hundreds, if not thousands of people all the time. It's incredible. And, I'm hoping that I have that problem someday. I hope that I've got 1,000 people asking the same question every single day, but it's been a cool experience. It's a great journey. And I'm hoping we're at the very beginning of it instead of further along, but it's been a fun ride no matter what.
There's Kat, one of the original mods on the channel.
There she is. Yeah.
Yes. One who's also named your child Baby Baja Blast.
Yeah. Both her and her husband were like two of the only people that watch it when it was a rough looking stream on Series X. But Rye was with me on a lot of these early GM runs, and I don't even know if Kat probably wasn't even watching it because she may have gotten sick, but she was at least listening to it, commenting on it. And she had our first ban and our first person that tried to come in there and say, "Hey, you want to be famous?" And I was like, "Well, I mean, yes," but we knew that it was a spam. So it's I always appreciate her, and we've had some of these people, when I try to explain it to my wife, like the next day, she knows nothing about video games, nor does she really care. But when I explain it to I don't understand why people show so much love and appreciation to me, but it's awesome. And then I just get really jazzed up for 15 minutes and I'm not sure she catches a single word because I speak at like 5,000 words a minute, but we have a great clan. I've met some great friends even outside of the clan through streaming, and I'll be forever grateful. Even if I stopped playing today, it would still be just an amazing experience having so many people that regularly support just some Destiny dad that happens to like playing PvE content and the in-game content that happens to like trying to teach others how to do it. It's been an awesome ride, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the season, but definitely Witch Queen, because I think that the amount of ways that I can help people is only going to increase.
Absolutely. Well, you are certainly welcome back here anytime to sit and talk about whatever. Like I said, there's a lot of Destiny news this week. It was a perfect time for you to be on, but anytime you're feeling like talking about whatever, you just let us know. We'll bring you in. We did like 25 minutes on Serial a month ago.
It's true.
This is what we do.
Well, I really appreciate both of it. Next time we'll just have Sam ask all the questions. Next time we'll just go with whatever direction he wants to, since I feel like you and I were just talking about Destiny the whole time. But next time we'll have him just ask random Spitfire questions. I'll do it. But I want to say thank you to both of you. I appreciate you having me on here. I love talking about Destiny. Love talking about the early struggles and the early accomplishments of streaming. It's been a lot of fun, but I really appreciate the opportunity, and I'm going to log off to go hang out with my little boys now, but I'm going to try to watch the stream from my phone for the rest of it. But I appreciate you guys very much.
Thank you very much. IndyBryce, everybody. Twitch.
See you guys.
IndyBryce. Good to have you.
Or on Twitter. Same thing.
Well,
it's just us now.
Hi again.
And Nick up in the top left corner.
That got really boring really fast. Oh, hey.
So it's
Nick's here in spirit.
so let me ask you this question. Did hearing all of those things, does that invigorate you to come back to play Destiny?
Oh, of course. Every single time there's a new season of Destiny, I boot it up for 30 minutes and then I quit again. I do not see that trend stopping with this particular season.
That's terrible.
I am definitely going to boot it up again. I mean, I might stick with it. We'll see. It's a matter of time usually. And crossplay. I mean, the fact that most of the people we played with kind of scattered between, PC and Xbox, and if somebody was on, you couldn't play with them anymore. That was kind of a killer. That was rough.
Yep. So see, Bryce is already saying, let's get him into the Vault of Glass. Because you were part of that original Vault of Glass run.
Yep.
From way back in the day. We're gonna get So you just need to be 1300. Actually, you could be 1284 or 1287.
No.
The other guy was.
I definitely think that I can jump in with a brand new character, and after that conversation, I think he can carry me through it. I'm gonna start calling him Indy and assume his name is Indiana Jones, by the way. But I'm gonna say Indy, carry me through the whole game. I'm just gonna start a new character right now. We'll see how it goes.
Nice. I will help you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. How is it going with you? I assume you're having to coerce people into doing raids now that don't want to, and so you just kind of
not so much.
That same thing Rev did to you.
Well, let me be clear. Rev kidnapped me into a raid. There was no coercing. That was straight up like thievery and kidnapping into a raid. So, that's what happened. That's what happened there. And like Indy, like Indy says, he's like, we don't carry people. We teach and assist, but you can stay in the back if you want to. So, it's a fun time to, I'm not coercing people doing raids, but I'm doing raids every week now, pretty much. Usually it's Vault of Glass because I'm super comfortable in Vault of Glass. And, I did a Last Wish. Incredibly beautiful raid. Not going to say I'm going to jump back into that one anytime soon. I need to do another Deep Stone or two, but, and Garden of Salvation is one that I need to do too. And, we have to, I've got to get that done so I can get some weapons, but not as intimidating as it once was.
Well, yeah, to answer your first question, I'm definitely going to get back into it. Real excited about it.
But first, Psychonauts.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, obviously, yeah, Psychonauts. Game of the year. That's all I got to say. I mean, well.
Doodles, you would be incorrect. Incorrect there. It was don't get me wrong. It was really fun. And we did a legit Riven kill. I got out of the timeout corner. Everything was great. Before Last Wish, I need a div run. And I know we've tried to set that up a couple times. And then I hit a deer with my rental car. So, that was, that kind of got in the wildlife got in the way of that one.
Life finds a way.
Yes, I do need a div run. But, I'm probably going to end up back in the timeout corner again. So... Absolutely. So some of these people you're seeing in chat, you might actually, you might see them join us for Extra Life. We're gonna partner up and do some stuff, hopefully with the unicorns. So it's going to be awesome.
It's gonna be a big year for Extra Life.
Cheese says Garden is the most beautifulest raid. It is. It might be. It might be. I don't know. I've never done it, so. At this point, I'm just waiting for the carry me LFG to show up on my Discord. Like, take cabs through ... So, I'm very excited about Extra Life. Obviously, that's a pretty big thing for me, at least personally, and we've done it for many years. The prize level, the raffle this year that I'm doing, I am so excited about this. I have lofty goals, but I bring lofty prizes. See, I'm with Kat. I love Vault. I personally I love Vault. One is because that's the first raid we ever did, in D1, and man, that was. I mean, you remember that was rough. That was really rough. That was 7 hours of rough, 6 or 7 hours of rough.
Yeah.
And let me be clear. We were way overpowered for it. And so I have a place in my heart for Vault. Clearly, there's a Vault and a tiny Atheon right there. So I love Vault. But I definitely feel better about doing other things in there as well. But we're going to get you back in. Yeah, crossplay is huge. I'm hoping that crossplay for some of the other group who hasn't been playing and things like that is going to bring some people back in because a lot of us went to PC to play, which made things difficult. And with crossplay working how it's working, I'm hopeful that we can get everything back in.
Well, I was never able to port my character to PC. Like, I tried it so many times.
Start a new character. You're fine. You don't need that character anymore.
But I put so much into my Xbox character. So many hours and hours.
Maybe it's fixed now. I don't know. It's but really the biggest, I would say the biggest challenge right now is comms, is figuring out communications when you really have 3 or 4 platforms. How do you do it? So far, Discord's been a thing. We've had people like on Discord on their phones with like an earbud in, doing things. The first one we did on Tuesday, we had Xbox, PlayStation, and PC all together. The only thing we were missing was a Stadia player.
Oh yeah.
And so, but we've also like on PC runs, like PC/Xbox runs, we've also done like Xbox party chats. Just using the PC version of the Xbox party chat. She says, I get anxiety thinking about starting new characters.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The only reason that my other 2 characters...
I'm not really starting a new character and expecting people to pull me through.
The only reason that my other 2 characters are up to level right now is like, man, I got to get Vex. I got to get Vex Mythoclast. And so I need 3 shots at it every time. And it's so like last night it was 3rd run of the week, so I had to do the boss on my hunter. And we did like the Celestial Nighthawk or whatever, and like, yeah, because that's how you get crit damage. And my comment was, like, the funny part about that is you actually expect me to hit the critical spot on Atheon with a character I've played like 10 hours versus 1,000 plus on my Titan. Like, That being said, 4 out of 5 times I did hit the critical spot. Yeah, Jetpack says 137 days on Destiny 2 on Xbox. That is not a small number.
It's not.
So it's an amazing franchise. A franchise born out of another. I say born out of. We got to talk about Halo and the things that are happening or not happening with Halo right now. Like I said, I'm still super bitter about the fact that no campaign co-op at launch. We have a
more reason to play Destiny.
Well, you're not wrong. A launch date of December 8th is so they're going to miss the 20th anniversary of Halo by about 3 weeks.
And even then,
we don't know if that's what it's going to be. And also, so yeah, Wednesday, December 8th, the title on the Ars Technica article really kind of puts it all out there. Halo Infinite will launch on Wednesday, December 8th in an incomplete fashion. It won't be the entire game at first, and half of it is free to play. So yeah, I'm sad about it. Like, campaign co-op is where we have the most fun. And so, having that not be there originally is a big disappointment for me. But we'll get it eventually, I guess. I don't know. It's they did that, and then somebody else. The other disappointment is the Halo Infinite Battle Pass progression is challenge based, not per match XP. And so there's already memes about saying, there's the capture the flag. Go take this flag to the whatever, and we'll win the match. He's like, sorry, I need 17 grunt kills, 3 melees, or whatever before I go do anything. Like, so it might. I don't know. I have concerns, and I love Halo. Like, I really do. Yeah. But I have concerns about that. So, I don't know.
Yeah, me too. I think really until we know more about it, I'm just not even gonna put it in the back of my mind. Again, we've got content out right now that we need to be working on, and we've got more exciting things to be doing from actual Bungie and not old Bungie.
Yeah, not old.
I think that's the most disappointing thing is 343. They've got so much talent and so many people from old school Bungie. I really want everything Halo to be amazing, and I used to kind of, scoff at people saying, "Oh, well, Destiny is going to be better because it's Bungie." I'm like, well, it's a different Bungie, but at this point, they are definitely winning in the Bungie war. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. And here's the, this Halo Infinite, if they're gonna build this world like like existing Bungie builds, let's see, what's this happening now? Okay. I saw a LFG thing going in the Discord. I was like, oh no, it's happening. Yeah, I mean, if Halo Infinite is going to turn into this big universe thing like it's supposed to, long term it could have, pretty big impacts on the Halo universe. But look how many years it took Bungie to get there for Destiny. Like, granted that now Halo's getting a TV series and stuff, which is cool, but like here's what I really want. I've been like super, I don't want to say the word obsessed, but I've really been enjoying a lot of the Netflix animated stuff that they've been doing, like Castlevania, and apparently the new Witcher, the Witcher prequel is out now, and apparently it's excellent. Now, granted, most of these things are for adults. He-Man, even, stuff like that. I want them to do something like that in the Destiny universe. Can you imagine what they could do there? Like, I mean, Netflix, you have $1 bajillion. You should go make this happen. You really should. So I don't know. It's one of those. It's going to take a lot to pull me away from Destiny. Part of what I would want to do, like, if Netflix just needs to grab that. And I know that there was at one point, there was a big article about how Bungie had hired like some media consultants for film and television, like, and stuff like that. So something like that certainly is in the works. But like, can you imagine the Destiny universe on Netflix in an animated form, so you don't have to really worry about the special effects budget and all of those things? Just, my gosh, like what you could do with that would absolutely melt brains, because there's so much lore out there. I mean, Cade could have his own show. Like, it could be anything we want it to be.
Yeah, remember Halo Legends when they had,
yes,
different animation styles with different stories?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, something like that would be fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, and we're going to talk about the Matrix here in a second, but yeah, Animatrix, same thing.
Yep.
Like, you got these different pieces of things, and yeah, you just got to get it animated. And because here's the thing, real life action would be really cool, but incredibly expensive. Like, we're at a point in the world now where, like, I mean, animation's the way to go for some of that stuff. Like, no, personally, like, I'm still a big child. Like, I still love cartoons. Like,
oh, me too.
But the thing is, like, the fact that you look at everything that like DC is doing and stuff like that in the more adult oriented animation, stuff like that, like Long Halloween and all this other stuff, like, there is a market out there for that, and I think that the Destiny community would eat it up. You just have to find a way to, I guess, for Bungie to monetize it. I mean, here's the thing, they've gotten so much of my real money for things like emotes.
True.
They've already gotten me for 2. There is now a conga line, which is a 3-person emote, and there is a slow dance, like a formal slow dance, and you're like doing this, like, side to side. I mean, I need a bigger emote wheel.
So here's my question. Everybody, the entire world, loved Red versus Blue. I mean,
yes,
they've got the engine. They're already making, really elaborate, cutscenes and commercials and stuff. How hard would it be to just go ahead and, extend them out a little bit and say, hey, we're actually going to make this thing in engine,
Oh yeah.
I feel like, they've got a big enough staff. Just throw a couple people at it, give them some time.
Yeah, but you could.
Tools are there.
Red versus Blue was so cool at the time, because it was so like, They did it in game. Like,
yeah, exactly.
They figured out how to do that. Which, by the way,
Why not?
if it's still on sale, I think the entirety, like all 14
Yeah.
seasons on Microsoft Store, is $5.
$5.
Um.
Oh,
So,
man.
Yeah,
Why are we still here?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like I said, there's options there, but I really hope we get more of this universe. It's still kind of, I mean, it kind of bends my brain a little bit that the Destiny cutscenes that they do were 30 frames a second, because the rest of the game is not, and so like it looks jarring, but I don't know. Hopefully that's
But
my
if that's
idea.
the sacrifice you have to make, I mean,
It's true.
Go for it. Just
Trademark.
Leave their helmets on, have them kind of nod up and down as they talk, and throw in an explosion now and then.
Yep, I'll be the guy emoting. I'll be the guy emoting in the background.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, it's oh, what is this?
I don't know.
Jeez, Iron Banner and VOG events are up for Tuesday. I think I'm already in a Wednesday run. I guess I could join a Tuesday run. Hold on a second. Important Destiny things. Let's see here. Iron Banana.
I'm hoping that by the end of the year they'll have the anti-cheat situation figured out for Linux, and I'll be able to play Destiny on my Steam Deck.
It's true. That's one thing we didn't talk about
my actual computer.
with Bryce here, was the fact that Destiny did drop BattleEye anti-cheat into the game for the first time. Don't know exactly, its impact quite yet. But to your point, yeah, I think they have enough people working on it. I think it'll be there. It'll be there for launch, which would be great. Because then, yeah, Steam Deck. It's gonna be awesome. I'm excited about the Steam Deck.
Oh, me too.
All right. So how many hours do you have in Psychonauts 2 right now?
Oh, not as many as I'd like. I mean, I've got about, I think.
He's like, it's been out for 4 days. I've slept 1 hour. I have 95 hours in.
No, it's been a rough week, I'm telling you. I'm into, let's see, I'm past the third, or no, I'm into the fourth level. No, third mental world. And I've explored the hub. I got lost in the hub forever because it's huge this time. Before it was this little summer camp. And now you've got this huge like office area, and then you've got some woods, and then you've got just other buildings to explore. And they took everything that was good from the first one and just multiplied it times 10. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but overall, it's fantastic.
Ars Technica is already calling it Game of the Year. So,
I mean, a contender for, I believe, is what it says.
Yeah.
But
an early easy nominee for 2021 Game of the Year. I read that as just Game of the Year.
That's how I'm telling people. I'm saying, hey, Game of the Year. It's fantastic. It's a lot of fun. They've made a lot of balance changes to the combat. They took out the ammo for your Psyblast, so you can just constantly shoot. But there's a cooldown on it if you're not careful. And then some of your other weapons, not weapons, but psychic powers, they've changed the way they work. They've got new enemies, a lot of new enemies, and it's a really great kind of reimagination of a lot of the old stuff they had in the original game. And I know not everybody played the original game, but let me tell you, you should. It's fantastic.
Awesome.
It's really frustrating, the original, when you get into some of the really complicated platforming sections. And so in this one, they've included some, I don't want to say cheat options, but, some options that, there's lots of tips, but that you can turn off, like fall damage. I think there's like a option to reduce, the difficulty essentially. For some of those really frustrating things, because some of those sections are a lot of fun. There's whole areas where you're basically doing little like skateboard grinds down rails, but psychically. And then there's some that where you're having to jump from one platform to the next in really complicated and bright environments, and it's occasionally very difficult. But they've, I think, done a good job of making it not maddening and frustrating like you might expect. And they've learned the lessons of the meat circuits from the first one, which, yeah, meat circuits.
You say that, you're like, oh god, like I just have flashbacks to this.
Oh man, oh
yeah. You mentioned ammo too, by the way. Primary weapons. We didn't talk about this with Bryce either. Also, unlimited ammo on primary weapons now.
Yeah,
it's awesome, so good.
I mean, I wonder how long that's going to last before they say, "Wait a minute, maybe we got to put that back in."
For primary weapons, I don't think it'll be majorly game breaking. I think what'll happen, there are some weapons that are primary weapons that are pretty powerful. If anything, those will get changed to special weapon. But
like I was reading about, all the other abilities that modify, primary ammo, and how they're having to change, all those modifications, and what they're going to have to, all the potential unforeseen circumstances, like there's he was talking about.
There's plenty.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see what kind of crazy game breaking stuff comes just out of that one change, let alone all the other little things they have to do to work around it. But it's going to be great. I always got frustrated whenever I'd start running out of white ammo. I was like, come on.
It's the white ammo.
It's the white ammo, yes.
Yeah. This should be there should be like much of this everywhere.
Yes, exactly.
So it's been really fun. It's really fun with bows. Just because you can just pull bows and just let it rip.
Love the bows. Yeah. You guys were talking about what a game changer that was. It was it was fantastic.
There's so many. It's so much fun to play with the bows, right? And there's so many good bows in the game.
At one point, I had my primary and my the green one.
Special, yeah.
And my special were both bows.
Energy. I call it special. It's special energy, yeah.
Yeah, my primary and energy were both bows, and I never picked up or I never pulled out the heavy. I just went from one bow to the other.
There was a time, because there is a heavy exotic.
And I was a hunter.
Nice. There's a heavy exotic bow, so you could run 3 bows if you wanted to.
I mean, I would have. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So,
in fact, I might. We'll see.
You should come back. We're gonna take you into the vault. You're gonna have 3 bows. It's gonna be amazing.
I'm gonna have 3 bows, and you guys are gonna have a terrible weight, dragging you down.
Nah, it'll be fine. It'll be fun. We're gonna get you in. We're gonna get you into vault for sure.
Well, fantastic.
Yep. Diablo 2 Resurrected, another open beta, I think, is going on right now. I think that's it.
So many open betas.
They said that this is basically the game at this point. Just at this point, it's just going to be bug fixes and stuff. Game Rant has a pretty funny article about like a checklist, and it just says food, stretch, ? Loot. Number 3 needs to be hydrate.
Oh yeah.
So don't forget to hydrate. Don't forget to stretch. I really should have stretched yesterday. I streamed way longer than I intended to. Mainly because we just started grinding this weapon in Prophecy, and it was fun, and we were just talking about stuff, and then I look, it's like, oh, I've been on for 5 hours. Okay. So I should go to bed. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. So, and if anybody knows me, that's like way past my bedtime.
It's true.
I am an old man. I am an old man, but that's okay. Oh boy.
You're among peers.
It's true. We're all getting there. There's so much more gray than there used to be. It's okay. That's just life. That's just life. Okay. You want to talk about Marvel, Disney, or The Matrix?
I mean, yeah, let's talk about The Matrix.
All right. We have a title, Matrix Resurrections.
Wait a minute.
Going with that, Jesus, welcome to my world. Yes, indeed. So yeah, he said Matrix Resurrections, they show some footage at CinemaCon. The footage is very interesting sounding. You've got a longer haired Neo. In the footage, it shows.
Isn't that just a Ted?
This is world building right here. Bill and Ted enter the Matrix. So yeah, you've got Neo meeting with a therapist played by none other than MPH himself, Neil Patrick Harris, talking about various things. It's clear that he understands that something is not quite right. He meets essentially Trinity on the street, has a very much do we know each other type thing. The footage hasn't been released online yet or anything like that, which, I'm a little surprised. But I'm sure it will at some point. And it says one of the things that they say, one of the people there, their tweet, it says Neo takes 2 pills a day, 2 blue pills a day, prescribed by his doctor. Finally, he meets a man dressed like Morpheus who offers him a red pill. Neo seems to have a few new powers from the last time, including some telekinesis stuff. This is from Aaron Couch on Twitter. It says, folks, I don't even know where to begin with The Matrix. Wow. It's called The Matrix Resurrections. Thomas Anderson is in therapy, having forgotten The Matrix. He meets Trinity in a coffee shop, and neither remembers one another. So.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. I don't know at this point. I really don't. Like, what is it going, like, is this literally going to be Matrix 1 all over again? Or there's got to be, like, there's going to be more to this, but some of the
Matrix multiverse.
Some of the, yeah, that's right. This is Earth 2. Some of the actors and stuff like that who have been on the Matrix, who've not been allowed to really say much of anything, have said, like, some of the rigs and things like that are being used on this movie, much like the first movie, they've never seen before. They've never heard of before. Some of the things they're doing here, like, are gonna break cinema just like the first one did. So I'm excited about that. I like technology, huge technology advancements and things like that. So I'm excited. It's getting released day and date theater and HBO Max. I will definitely December 22nd. We're not far. We're less than 4 months away. That is definitely the thing is, like, that is definitely a theater like thing for me, but also, like, I have this such love for the Matrix, like the original. Part of me almost wants to experience it at home by myself, like, to just take it in that first time. Because that movie, especially the first one, easily top 3 movies I've seen the most times. It's an obscene number, probably. And I'm
lost count.
I pretty
number
much
is too high.
And I just, having, like, your thing, it's like, it's almost, I mean, this will make sense for, for all of you guys. Like, it's like anytime a new Batman movie comes out, like, I'm just that. There was some new stuff screened for the Batman also, at CinemaCon, but we'll get into that at a different show. But yeah, so I'm very excited about it. I have high hopes about it. That may be one of those things, like, I'll definitely watch in the theater, but that first watch, it might have to be at home.
I don't know if this will change your mind, but I am 90% sure that Church is going to have sunglasses and a giant coat, and he's going to go in costume.
Okay, we're going to the theater.
He's not here to tell me I'm wrong, so it's happening now.
Yeah, Cat DC has hurt me a lot. I'm genuinely stoked on the Batman. Everything I'm hearing, with Matt Reeves and stuff like that, talking about it being a grounded, gritty, year one style, super angry, aggro Batman. Like, and really, like, that part aside, like, I am super excited to see what they're going to do with the Riddler this time around. Like, yeah. Because this is a psychological Riddler. Like, he knows he's smarter than you, like, but he's not running around in spandex. Like, he's just that much smarter. And
that was not smart.
No, I mean, that's the thing. It offers very little protection in a fight, whether anything. Like, I'm sure it bunches places, maybe chafes. Like, not smart, not smart. So, I mean, had question marks on it. Like,
Yeah.
so I'm excited about that. Yeah, I've said high hopes with that. You know, because Matt Reeves is doing that, plus the Gotham PD TV series. You know, he's involved in. Kat, let me ask you a question real quick. Have you watched Long Halloween yet? In the both parts yet? I haven't yet, and I'm trying to decide if I want to dedicate 3 hours of my life in one sitting or if I should do it in two. So it's animated. It's Long Halloween. It's a cool story. It's one of my favorites. I'm afraid to get hurt.
I think with DC, they actually have a really good track record with the animated stuff.
For
I
sure.
think it's when you get to the live action that it's difficult to say.
Yeah. She has not. All right, I might just have to do this. Yeah, I think I'm the same. I think I'm gonna have to do it in one. So
we went ahead and subscribed to HBO Max so that we could watch Suicide Squad, and we're trying to get as much of the DC animated stuff out as we can.
Yeah.
Just before we cancel it.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
She's absolutely right. They are amazing.
Yep. They're all flawed. I don't disagree. Like, I mean, that's the thing. People ask what my favorite Batman movie is. When I tell them Mask of the Phantasm, they don't know what I'm talking about.
So sad.
I love Phantasm. Love Phantasm.
Amazing.
That is one of those things that, like, anytime anybody like Mondo or Bottleneck or Gray Matter, anybody comes out with like a Mask of the Phantasm, like retro movie poster or something, like, I'm buying it. Like, I'm just buying it. Like,
shut up and take my money.
Pretty much. Jeremy Hahn did an amazing Phantasm commission for me a while ago. It is one of my favorites. Excited to be able to see him tomorrow. I'm going up to Joplin tomorrow.
Oh, awesome.
So gonna do some hauntology related stuff.
I was gonna say, ask him where my hauntology stuff is.
Not quite there.
Oh.
So yeah. Yeah, Under the Red Hood. Oh, Under the Red Hood is so good. So good.
Have you watched any of the Marvel What If series?
I have not yet.
I mean, I would say from a Marvel standpoint, it's definitely the best of their animated stuff, but their animated stuff is not good. DC just does amazing on all of their animated stuff, but Marvel, no, not so much.
Yep. So all right. So that settles it. I'm gonna do Long Halloween. I'm gonna do it one sitting. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be exciting.
We started the Harley Quinn animated series.
How is that?
Oh my goodness, it's
adult. I know.
Yeah, I don't even know. It's something I would not normally watch, but it is very amusing and very interesting. I think it's very true to the characters and the world. But oh man, it just the first episode was a fantastic setup because you know that there's that debate over the relationship, between Harley and Joker and whether or not she should stay and all that stuff, and just the way that they separate the two to give her her own, her own feature is fantastic. And it's unfortunate that she has to go through everything she does, but I think it's a really great picture of that character. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I started watching they did the Death in the Family like multi something DC animated thing, like multiple stories, like it's King, how they did, whether or not he's going to live or die, that whole thing back in the day. I started watching that and then I was tired, and like if I'm tired, that's when I just don't like movies or whatever. So I just started going through Netflix because I just wanted to have something on in the background. I ended up watching The Losers, which I haven't seen in forever, which is an old comic book property. It's got Jeffrey D. Morgan, it's got Chris Evans, it's got Zoe Saldana, like
Idris Elba.
It is wildly entertaining.
Oh,
like,
wow.
I mean, wildly entertaining.
I haven't seen it. I'll look it up.
Oh yeah, I mean it's a total unplug your brain, like very prototypical, like whatever. But Chris Evans in that movie, it's so good. It's so fun. Like it's just what it is. Speaking of other superhero movies, fans think they've spotted Daredevil in the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer, which, by the way, one of the greatest trailers I probably have ever seen. Now, granted, I love Doctor Strange. I love Doctor Strange. Like, so, I mean, they might as well call it Spider-Man Doctor Strange 1.5. One, Doctor Strange is in sweatpants, so that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But people think they've spotted Matt Murdock in there. They've done a lot of very intense image analysis of some dude's hairy arms. So they think it's Matt Murdock.
I'm so glad.
I'm inclined to agree. There's a
because
lot of
you recognize the hair pattern.
There's a lot of internet-based evidence.
I think this guy has a little bit of a sunburn. Just right underneath where a mask would be.
Right there. So yeah. You only see his arm. And so I am very excited about that trailer was so good.
Have you seen the jokes about Dr. Octopus and the different Aunt Mays he's had to kidnap?
Yes.
Of course he's going to kidnap the new one.
Of course he is. I mean, yeah, it's pretty. Then the meme I posted in the chat this morning. I think it's this morning or yesterday. It's like, who at this point who isn't in Spider-Man No Way Home, and then it's like Uncle Ben.
Oh, too soon.
But here's the thing: yes or no? I mean, there is some Spider-Man like canon
where
in
Uncle
the books.
Ben is Spider-Man.
Not where he is Spider-Man, but basically you get this like 5 more minutes. Like he makes a deal like for 5 more minutes or something with Uncle Ben, and Doctor Strange would have the ability to do this.
Whew.
And so the question is, which Uncle Ben is it? I mean, it's got to be Martin Sheen. You got to bring back President Bartlett. Like you have to. Like,
you mean the Invisible Man?
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm excited about that.
In the trailer, like they showed them standing there, in front of the plinth or whatever, and Strange is doing his thing, and he says, "No one will know," and Peter's like, "Oh, but what about this person? What about this person? What about this person?" I feel like that is a less likely trigger for some sort of catastrophe than him saying, "Hey, I want to bring back my uncle." Like I think that would be. But then again, they probably need to stop revisiting that.
It's the same problem people complain about any Spider-Man or Batman movie. Like we've seen their parents or whatever figures die so many times. We don't need to see it again.
I've been playing Miles Morales, by the way.
Yeah,
I know. Sort of a tangent, sort of not. Fantastic.
Awesome.
Loving it.
Awesome. To me, it's the when I saw that part about him saying, "Well, what about this person? What about this person? What about this person?" Like in my brain, that's not Peter Parker Spider-Man. That's Tom Holland spoiling things for Marvel. Right? Like I feel like that is the most true to life, true to Tom Holland character trait of all the Marvel movies, period.
Absolutely.
Like, well, what about this person? Can I just tell this person? Can I just tell this person? Like that's what that is, right?
You're right. So, that is brilliant.
Yeah, Hasbro did come out with a sweet Eye of Agamotto, like nice, like whatever thing or whatever. I totally pre-ordered that sucker. Like I'm just gonna wear it around.
Going to work tomorrow.
Like exactly, I've got that. Like, what is this? I'm like, I shouldn't even be here today. And so
I'm not even supposed to be here today.
So, yep. Another movie that's come out here. Disney's Cruella is on Disney Plus now. Some people say it's one of 2021's most popular movies. I don't know if that's actually true. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Friday, August 27th, which was yesterday, Cruella will be able to be streamed for free to all Disney Plus subscribers. Just a few months after it's made its, it got released in May. So you're talking about like a 3-month turn before it's free. So interesting. I don't know. I might give him a stone. I might give it a watch with the kids or something.
Yeah,
might be fun.
I'm curious.
Yep. Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk are fighting. What else is new? Apparently he tweeted, Elon Musk tweeted, I guess Jeff Bezos or Bezos, or however you pronounce his last name, retired from Amazon just to file lawsuits against SpaceX or whatever. And so a couple new proposals hit regarding some more low Earth orbit satellites for Starlink. And he filed a thing because they submitted 2 proposals, which apparently there's a fair amount of technical work that has to be done on the FCC's part in order to approve or disapprove said proposals. And Amazon felt like that was unfair, that they would have to do the work for 2 instead of 1. So, we'll see.
Interesting.
To me, really, Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, them fighting is going to do one of 2 things.
Oh no.
It is going to propel the world forward in such a rapid pace that all of society is going to benefit, or we're all going to die.
Those are only 2 options. Yeah.
I mean, really, which one of these guys is Lex Luthor? Like, really?
I mean, obviously Bezos, but
you would think. I mean, he's got the bald head, like the whole thing. He looks like Lex Luthor.
He's not too far off.
So yeah, this is one of those, like, I've got all the money, all the money, all the whatever.
Of course, Musk has a company that makes flamethrowers.
True. Do you really want to get in a fight with a dude with a company that makes flamethrowers? I'm waiting for the flamethrower option to be on a Tesla, like James Bond style, like the headlights just fold back and
Oh, he's got one.
I'm sure he does.
In fact, he doesn't have headlights. They're just flames.
Just flames. Like, I don't need to. I only need to see what's immediately in front of me. Like, and if there's anything immediately in front of me,
the car drives itself.
They're going to die. Like, they're going.
Everything, all the lights, everything. It's all decorative. I mean, the car is the one that's actually doing the driving.
That's true. So yeah, flamethrower self-defense. Yeah, it's one of those things. Those are the minds or whatever, like I said, that's gonna propel society and technology forward at such a rapid pace. Or if they get so focused on that
taking over space.
Okay, yeah, this is the best take of this at all. Thank you, Kat. Bezos is definitely Lex Luthor, but Musk is a Bond villain. You were absolutely spot on. That is the best and clearest way to describe those 2. Yeah.
I mean, when we're talking about a network of 30,000 satellites that are potentially here or there in, kind of a low orbit, yeah, I mean, catastrophe is, I think, inevitable.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, for sure.
Debris falling everywhere.
Yeah.
That's what I'm seeing.
I will say I've heard and I've seen.
Unless we pay him $1 million.
$1 million. I have seen some of the like speed tests and stuff out of Starlink, and it is legitimately good.
Really?
Like, legitimately good. Yeah. The guy who did the original GTN logo, my friend Eric, he lives like out in rural Oklahoma, and previously he could only get like 10 meg, like hardly anything. And it was cellular and whatever, and he has Starlink and it runs, and you're talking 300 meg.
Wow.
Like, and good pings and everything. Like, it a year from now, it will be a legitimate contender.
Uncanny Destiny.
I assume so. Like, I've not yet taken my Xbox there to find out, but I believe it'll be a legitimate contender. And to me, the downside of that is that just means they're going to dump more satellites, and then at some point, so much space garbage, you're going to need the giant vacuum from Spaceballs.
Spaceballs, yeah.
Yeah. Like, that's what
that'll be Wally.
Yeah, that's what you're going to need. But for those areas that don't have high-speed internet, like, this is a total game changer for them. Yeah. This is going to be one of those things that does propel society forward and connects people in ways that has never been connected before. However, I mean, you would at some point. That does mean you're bringing more trolls to the internet. Like,
that's risky.
Yeah. I mean, there's already a pretty big troll to non-troll ratio. So
I think that is a fantastic prospect because, like Hannah's parents, when they were living up on top of a mountain, just in the middle of nowhere, the whole reason that we had so much trouble with the concept of even just staying out there for a couple of days was because the internet was so bad, and their service provider had a very frank conversation with them about how they are never offering anything better. Like, we are not planning on making any changes, improvements. I mean, you're lucky to get what you get. So
yeah, wow.
Broadening that type of connection is
You should get them signed up for
world-changing thing.
You should get them signed up for the beta if they're still on top of said mountain.
They are not.
Okay.
They have left the mountain.
Yeah. See, for me personally, I'm like, well, if it's a consistent 300 megabit, like maybe I wouldn't mind living like away from society.
Yeah, that's one of my biggest things. I need access to some sort of food delivery system and internet.
Yeah, that's really. I mean, do you need anything else? Like, not really. So, yep, it's wild times. I love it.
Let me reverse those in terms of priority. I need internet and then food second.
Yeah, I mean that's probably pretty. Yeah.
Third, power. I mean,
yeah.
My laptop will go for a while.
Solar. I'll plug my laptop into a solar charger. It'll be fine.
There you go.
So. All righty. One quick follow up. Actually, you know what? I'm going to save the Fanatics thing for whenever Nick's back. Since he was here talking about that last time. Very interesting licensing deals happening with Fanatics and all of the major league sports in terms of card deals and things like that.
Which I never thought would be a thing.
Warrants further discussion because this is interesting and potentially industry breaking.
Maybe we can get Church here to talk about it too.
Possible, for sure. We should see that, assuming and he has to do so in his Matrix outfit.
His Matrix outfit, yes. Well, it'll be a Royals baseball cap, and then the Matrix shades and the
that's fine
giant leather jacket, which you will not be able to see anything below here. But
Kansas City Neo.
Kansas City Neo. That's right.
That's it. Well, gang, thanks for tuning in. It was great to have Bryce on. I'm sure we will see him again at some point. Anybody watching, if you want to do some Destiny content, you hop over to go find him on Twitch. You can get his Discord channel from there. We're going to take Sam through Vault of Glass. He's going to start a new character. It's going to be great. We're going to stream the whole run. So, yep. So that's going to be, I think that's going to wrap episode 186 of Gather the Nerds. I'm Cav, that's Sam.
Don't have a good day. Have a great day.
I could love it, man. I love it so much. Catchphrase. Oh, by the way, tell me can you hear this, by the way?
But if you're here, who's guarding Hades?
Yes. So I have a new piece of tech, and all I've been doing is putting Brooklyn Nine-Nine sound samples on it.
Bring me a Chardonnay.
And then, of course,
hot damn.
Of course.
Yes, and you can't have a Gather the Nerds anything without some sort of Keanu reference.
You're breathtaking.
You're breathtaking. All right, 186. Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day.
Goodbye. Uh-oh. I don't think he stopped it. He just left me. Well, hi, everybody. I'm going to talk about Psychonauts for the next hour. It's great. You should play it. It's amazing. Stick with it. Don't forget Psychonauts. It's awesome.
Yes. Sorry, guys. I pulled a Nick there. I left the studio and didn't end the stream, actually.
Oh, was that what happened?
That's what happened. Yes.
I was going to have the Sam Psychonauts hour.
Nice. I'm actually going to stop the stream now.
Oh, okay.
And then we can relaunch one of Psychonauts hour, should you be so inclined.
Okay.
All right. Bye, everybody. I'm hitting the right red button this time.